Hello, my name is George. This is GLLR Cars. Today we're talking the Infinity Q60. The Infinity Q60 is a two-door sports coupe that has, this one in particular is 3.0T, so it is a 6-cylinder, 3-liter turbocharged engine. And it is one that has a little bit of the faster engine. This car is supposed to compete with the likes of the BMW 4 Series Coupe, the Audi A5, the likes of the Mercedes-Benz C Coupe, the C-Class, cars of that nature. And this car right here has a very nice appearance. The car has very nice wheels. It is basically in that range of cars of those two-door sports coupes with a very interesting lines, how it has sort of like a hump over, and it tries not to do too much with the styling, and nevertheless it does have a very good appearance. I do like the appearance on this car. It is very impressive in terms of how they blend the curves and the lines without trying to do too much. The car is the type that would compete with some of the German counterparts like I talked about, and as such we're not really sure if this will be able to get that job done. So it's all about the driving experience. We know how it looks, we know what type of engine it is, and does it compare in terms of and we know the styling, but does it compare in terms of the punchiness, the handling, the comfort, etc. Let's take a quick look in the inside. The inside, as expected, will be all set up with leather. It has very nice soft leather. It doesn't really have an interior that will be matched up with some other colors or color stitching or anything of that nature, but it's well laid out. The dual screens here in the center are very well laid out, so nothing to complain there. And the driving position and the setup where the steering wheel and how easy it is to reach the shifter, the display knob for everything that you have. Let's turn it on here. Well, the first thing that I notice is fairly quiet when you turn it on for a 6-cylinder, and in terms of just overall, it's not too bad. It's well laid out. I like the fact that you do feel like you're a little bit in a cockpit, and that's the type of feel that you want in a car like this. So first impressions is the punch. It has really good punch. This is the 6-cylinder 3.0 turbocharged engine, and when those turbos engage, it has some very, very good punch. The car is without a doubt a very responsive car. It makes absolutely sure that you will enjoy that driving experience of being able to punch it like this. At the same time, it's not as smooth as you would think it would be as a, say, Audi or Mercedes or BMW. It's a little bit more raw experience when you punch it, but that's not a bad thing. If you want a true driving experience, that is actually quite good. The steering is tight. I have it in sports mode, and it feels fairly tight. There's very little wiggle room on it if I'm driving straight. The controls are close to your hands. The view of the dashboard, the instrument cluster, the center console, it's not bad at all. It's a very nice layout. The interior is very well laid out, and the visibility is also very good. There's visibility all the way around, and it's quite good visibility. So it does make for a good driving experience. the height of the seat, I pretty much have it where I put the seat at a standard height. Like right here, I have, let's see, this is as low as the seat will go, and yet the visibility is not bad. I do think that where the instrument cluster is, this is a little bit strange how they shaped it, but I may be splitting hairs here. The suspension, as I go through humps and bumps, it is, because I have it in sports mode, it is a little bit stiff. It feels a little bit jumpy, but that's not a bad thing. Again, that's what's expected out of the sports mode. So maybe not as refined as some of the German cars, but it is a very good driving experience. The mode changes are done on this button down here. So if I switch it here, now I have it in standard mode. And now driving it in standard mode, it is not, the steering wheel doesn't feel as tight. It is in a higher gear. However, to my surprise, it still feels a little jumpy on the road, where it's, as I drive through it, it does feel a little bit raw. So I think when it comes to the suspension part of it, it doesn't make that big of a difference. And that may not be that big of a deal to you, but at least for me it isn't. But it is a very good driving experience. The transmission is good when you're accelerating. However, when you let go of the accelerator at certain speeds, it does make a non-smooth move to the gear that it's supposed to move up to. So you do feel it shift a little bit harder than it should shift. So like if I go here and then I let go, yeah, it doesn't feel as smooth as it should be. And again, it's just with the purpose of knowing whether or not that is the type of transmission that you would be inclined to use on a regular basis and enjoy. It is a little bit raw as well, and it depends on that driving experience. If your driving experience is meant to be a sports driving experience, then that's what it is, and this car does provide it. I would prefer that the transmission would be a little bit smoother when it makes those changes. So when you're accelerating and it hasn't switched to the next gear and you let go, it doesn't move to that next gear up. So you feel that hump sound of slowing you down a little bit. Yeah, so the tech part of it is not my favorite, even though it does have dual screens, which is very nice, and they are touch screens. For instance, in this screen on the top, it has very few little choices to make up here. And then the screen on the bottom, which is the one that's more feature rich, like for instance, this model doesn't even have navigation, and you can operate it with this knob down here. But aside from that, it is not very intuitive. And although I don't shy away from complexity, I can say that they are more intuitive infotainment systems out there, and they offer the ability to separate those tasks a little bit better. So if you're going to put, let's say, climate control and car functions in one, and then you put everything that's related to navigation and entertainment on the other one, well, that's a good grouping. Here, it doesn't seem to be that much. This is just more for audio sources and clock, while down here it seems to be everything else, but it has a clock too, and it has audio sources too. So not as good as I would like, but again, it's maybe splitting hairs. I think that nowadays one thing that I would prefer is that they put Apple CarPlay and Android Auto, and then allow your phone's updates to update your infotainment system. Well, after driving it, it was a very raw driving experience in a very good way. And the fact that it gives you a good punch, it handles, the ride quality is not very good, but it handles very good. And
the fact that they make no excuses for making sure that it's going to feel like a sports car is what I like about it. I wish the transmission were a little bit smoother, but I may be splitting hairs. I think the styling, comfort, the tech is probably one area that I would improve, but aside from that, it's a very good car, and at a price point that would probably come in for less money than the Germans, it would be a car that I would definitely wouldn't mind driving. And I recommend that if you ever want to look at a car like this, definitely get behind the wheel and test it and see if you like it. My name is George. This is GLLR Cars, and as always, drive safe.